The results of the study showed that hand grip strength improved for both groups, but greater improvements were seen in the myofascial release group, with an improvement of 43%. So the study that was done by Kamek et al. In 2013 on mobilizations also investigated hand grip strength. The results of their study found that after 3 months, hand grip strength improved by 20% in the mobilization group and only 3.7% in exercise therapy alone. So a third study that looked at hand grip strength was the orthotic study done by Nwante et al. In 2018. They found that the use of orthotics only improved hand grip strength by 1%, whereas physiotherapy alone actually improved it by 12%. So these results show that hand grip strength can be improved at different stages of time and with different therapies. We know that Dave's been off work for at least 10 weeks now and has not attempted any therapy at all, so any improvements will be minimal. The reviewed literature points towards exercise therapy at least, with the smallest improvements being seen at 3.7%. The successful use of myofascial release can be explained by the technique speeding up the process of which fascial tissue returns to its normal length due to collagen being able to become reorganized.
An interesting study that I found to demonstrate different measurements for the elbow was by Cages et al. 2018, where they measured validity and reliability of the elbow range of motion measurements, such as photographs, movies, and goniometra's smartphone application against the universally used goniometers. So the handout that we've provided has a reference to how to measure the elbow range of motion and the wrist range of motion with the goniometer, so that'll be a good reference points for you guys. Results of the study found that photography and movie-based goniometry showed better validity in flexion and extension, whereas a smartphone applicator showed better validity for pronation and supination. The reliability for the photo and the movie was excellent, but quite poor and to moderate was the universally used goniometer and the smartphone application. The reliability of photographs is in line with other researchers, which found very similar findings. But there is very little evidence for movie-based measurements for the elbow from other researchers, so this is still an area of exploration. So what this research implies is that the standard goniometer that we see used very regularly may be less so reliable for unexperienced users. So may need other ways to find more accurate readings, such as what they've suggested is the photo and the movie, which is quite good. In regards to our trigger, it is most likely that therapists will be using a goniometer as a standard baseline check for the wrist and elbow due to many costs in the NHS, and I can imagine the photo and the video is quite expensive to have to do. So we can measure the range of motion of the wrist and the elbow at baseline, 6 weeks and 12 weeks, in line with the framework, just to make sure that we are on track to achieving those goals specific for the patient.
In 2016, Hassan et al. Investigated 2 separate techniques, both with the aim of improving range of motion at the wrist following lateral epicondylitis. 40 participants would be split up into 2 groups. Both groups would receive a conventional physiotherapy program. However, the first group would also receive a deep friction massage technique, and the second group would receive a program that focused on stretching the wrist extensor muscles. After 4 weeks, the results showed that the stretching of the wrist extensors was far superior in improving wrist range of motion in both flexion and extension compared to the deep friction massage group. For wrist flexion, deep friction massage saw improvements around 16.1%, whereas the stretching group saw improvements of around 21% in wrist flexion. Similar results were also seen for wrist extension. The deep friction group improved at around 30%, whereas the stretch group improved at around 38%. These results lead to the conclusion that Dave may not have needed to stay at home for 10 weeks. If he didn't incorporate some of these into his rehab, then he'd have got back to work at a much quicker rate. The results of the study showed that Hand grip strength improved for both groups, but greater improvements were seen in the myofascial release group, with an improvement of 43%. So the study that was done by Kamek et al. In 2013 on mobilizations also investigated